Greetings, everybody. We're on 24th Street in the Mission District. My name is Miguel. I'm in your Aztec philosophy class. I'm going to be talking about Aztec warfare and what the importance is today. Right behind me, there's an Aztec Jaguar Knight, and above me, there's an Eagle Warrior Knight up here. These were the two classes of indigenous people that were highly sought over, and only high-ranking people that got 6 or more captives could be part of that fraternity or that class system. And they would get privilege to land, they would get privilege to weapons, distinct jewelry, distinct uniforms, and that's how they would rise in the ranks. Now, all Aztec children were born to be warriors. You could be born as a farmer, a poet, a merchant, but you always had to serve mandatory Aztec duty for military, unlike today where our military in the United States is volunteer. I served in the Marines for 10 years, and I find this very relevant to my life, because at the end of the day, yes, there was women warriors, but I'm going to be focusing on the male energy, the East, the fire. Many wars that the Aztecs are very known for is the Flower War and the Noche Triste, where the Aztec knights, the Eagle Warriors, engaged the Spaniards, a superior military at the time in the whole world, and crushed them. Due to their greed and sneaking out at night, they set up a trap for them in the causeways to get out of the city, and it turned out to be a disastrous war effort. The Aztecs were successful, and it is said that Hernan Cortez stayed there and cried and called it the Noche Triste. Also, the Aztecs are only known today for ripping out hearts and taking people's hearts. But why this is important to today? Because society cannot function without warriors, without men to bring and protect the community and the society. Much like today, my culture of people, whether it's a barrio, where you got people that are alpha males or gang members, or society, the people fighting Iraq and Afghanistan, there's always going to be a warrior class. There's always going to be people fighting for what they believe in. Furthermore, the importance and the relevance of Aztecs is you see them everywhere. It's not just a car, and it's not just a mascot at the San Diego University. It's an ideology and indoctrination of a culture and a community that lives on today. Here in the Mission District, there are many Aztec and indigenous murals. And in our class, we focused on indigenous literature, remembering the historical value of these indigenous people. And it's 2020. Therefore, we should acknowledge not just the stereotypes of them being pagans or bloodthirsty savages, but also all the good that they did in their civilization, as advanced as they were, and also having the capability of making the land work for them and the resources that they had to sustain life. So you went up in rank as an Eagle Warrior or Jaguar Knight, and you could wear the uniform and be part of that fraternity and live in that house and have jewelry and food and land and servants and concubines. And if you didn't, you aspired to that, and you did your service as a porter or as a novice or as a rookie. There was 2 different schools. One school was for the rich, and one school was for the peasants. Now, I would pronounce those names, but I'm going to butcher them up. Also, being at warfare, you could come back and collect tribute from the city and the king after conquest and after sacrificing victims on the temple. I do believe sacrifice was a necessary tactic as a political scheme, and to subjugate other tribes and make them obscure to your power. Those tribes needed to be scared for their life. What better to instill fear in their hearts than to have your beating heart ripped out and offered to the sun god? That's the way you can keep people in check. This is very important because today our military in the United States is known for dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, is known for disasters and tortures that we did in Vietnam. So cruelty to other human beings is a necessary tool. It's a necessary evil that people do. Military service is a rite of passage for some, and in the indigenous, it represents the East, the fire. There was women warriors, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the male warriors, the Eagle Knights, the Jaguar Knights, and the infantry. They had generals that were of nobility, of noble blood, and these generals moved the armies, and it was led by the Otomi, the king, who led to victorious conquests throughout Mesoamerica. One of the important things about Aztecs is they're still remembered to this day. We're on 24th Street in Alabama, and there's a lot of Aztec murals here, to include the calendar. As we can see right here, 24th in Alabama, the Aztec murals up here, they project all the way down up to the Aztec calendar. These are all very important murals that stand to this day, that acknowledge their feather work, acknowledge their weaponry, acknowledge their royal robes, and finally, the Eagle Knight warrior right here, Cuauhtemoc, who was one of the last Aztecs to fight the Spaniards. You could tell by his hide shield, his razor tip spear, and his royalty necklace that has a face, that he was important. And the featherwork. He fought to the end even when he had his feet burned. That was him. That's the one up there. That's the one up there. They were great archers, and the tips of the arrows had flint. He had his necklace on, and the only people that can wear a cape like that in the indigenous community was the Aztecs, where they tied it in the center to their regalia in their uniform. This is a mural that's largely ignored, and it's not acknowledged here in the Mission District for their weaponry and for their abilities that the Aztecs used. They had many weapons. They had clubs, they had arrows, they had slingshots with rubber, they had daggers, they had shields, they had armor. They're very advanced people. So let's remember them for their great empire and their great innovations in surviving. Aztec power.